that your kids were born, and I marked it down. That Hoffman pitch that ended this ball game, 11:01 Eastern time, and the Blue Jays solidified themselves a spot in the World Series. And we are so happy for so many people out there watching who have lived decades without experiencing the Blue Jays in a World Series, are nearing the end of their days and wanted one more vision of what it's like to be the best team in all of baseball, and they might get that chance. So we're glad that you've been part of this joyous ride, made possible, I might add. 7th inning in an elimination game and a home run that turns it all around by... Does that sound familiar to you guys?
Yeah, it wouldn't be the 2025 Blue Jays if we all didn't have mild heart attacks while the game was going on, but that's what this team does. They figure out a way to come back, and it's the 7th inning, starts with the bottom of the order. Are we surprised by that at all?
Never.
No. Just have quality at bats, and then it takes one good swing to completely change this game.
And to get to Game 7, you think of last night's game was really a complete Toronto Blue Jays game. Good pitching, good defense, contact baseball, put balls in play. They also hit a couple homers. It was just a recipe for success if they could only duplicate it tonight. But it wasn't to be so. Shane Bieber struggled a little bit. You could see he was not going to last long out there. I think they got him out of there at just the right time. But just the way the offense, Kirby was very good tonight. And then Wu came in. He was very good. And it just had that feeling like, oh no, don't tell me it's going to be all the way to Game 7 and those Mariners pitching and bullpen is going to come to life. And sure enough, there you go. So not only did they drop down a sacrifice bunt, they also hit the home run. So I guess it was a complete Toronto Blue Jays game.
And it was just the other day that we celebrated the 10 years since Jose Bautista bat flipped against the Texas Rangers. The celebration is ongoing. Let's get you to the field. Arden Zwelling, Kevin Pillar, Caleb Joseph, gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Yes, here we are at a field where a World Series game will be played on Friday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, if you can believe it. I want to start with you, Caleb, because you played with some of these guys in 2020, the pandemic season. You knew what it was like to be a nomad with some of these guys, getting to see them celebrate. What are your emotions?
Yeah, it is emotional as a former player and just as a friend for some of these guys, and you just feel it as a player. You know that the emotions are so high going into this game, and you want it so badly, and then you go down and you start feeling like you're chasing the game, and then at some point you realize, oh no, we only have like 7 outs to play with, and that's when the panic really starts to set in as a player. It's not so much early part in the game or even the middle part of the game, it's when you're trailing towards the back end, the panic starts. But then George Springer had the biggest swing of the season, and then you go from uh-oh to oh yes in an absolute instant. And what the fans feel in emotions, guys, is exactly what you feel as a player. You're like, oh no, no, and then total elation. So it's been amazing to see how this thing unfolded.
I think we have someone joining us behind us.
Hey! Come on, you guys. Come on.
Way to go, bud.
Thank you.
Dalton, just tell us what you're feeling right now.
Said it from the beginning, it's a blessing. This is awesome. I mean, we do it for these people here. I mean, these are the reason why we play the game. They're here every day supporting us. It's just awesome.
I wonder if you had any conversations. I was hearing Dan talking about your dad made it so close, Game 7. Obviously on the other side, any conversations with him over the last couple days?
I mean, he cried. He cried when I'm able to get to this point. I mean, it's just one of those things where he was on that side and it stinks. Like, he was up 3-2 and he knows what it feels like. So obviously being able to pull that out for us, it's awesome.
You had a couple swings in Seattle. It looked like you were really, really close. And then you come back here for Game 6. You have that really nice short swing, hit that bullet double to left. And then you had another couple really good swings. And then tonight, you had a huge swing to get the offense rolling. Were you feeling good tonight?
Yeah, it was good. Honestly, Pop kind of figured it out with me. We went on the off day, and he's like, hey, let's try to figure it out. We figured something out, and it was a good ride.
Dalton, I think that fans know how close you are with George Springer by now. You guys have a really tight relationship. What's going on for him behind the scenes, just to have the entire season he's had up to this unbelievable moment tonight?
Yeah, for him, I mean, he's got a bruised knee. I mean, bruised knee, a bum wrist. I mean, he's one of those guys that shows up every postseason, and it's awesome. I mean, I'm happy for him.
Is there anything George said to the guys coming back here, you know, facing elimination? Anything, any advice he gave you, someone that's been there, done it before?
It's like, keep playing our game, trust it, and we did it as a team, and honestly, our bullpen did great tonight. Having our starters come out of it, I mean, it was great, everything.
Dalton, I'm going to let you go continue partying, but thanks for stopping by, man.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations, man. Enjoy it.
Appreciate it.
Kevin, we were talking to some players earlier, and you told them that Jose Bautista's home run in Game 5 in 2015 changed your life. What could George Springer's home run do for guys like Ernie Clement, Davis Schneider, and others?
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand who you are as a player. I knew that I was a good player. I was a role player. I was a glue guy. I had my moments. And not to say I didn't have individual moments that were very memorable and special, but when Jose hit that home run, it took me into a different stratosphere of popularity and respect from this fan base. You know, what Jose did, like I said, people ask me all the time, what was the greatest moment of your career? And without a doubt, I would say Jose Bautista's bat flip home run. People go, you weren't even involved. And I said, it doesn't matter. Like, I get emotional thinking about what these guys are going through right now. You know, I was fortunate to play here as a player. I know how special Toronto is. I know how great of an organization it is. And I was really fortunate my first couple years. I was able to get to the postseason. And then I left here. Then we had a couple bad years. I got traded. I bounced around the league a little bit. And I didn't make it back to the playoffs for 8 years. I got a chance to get one more run at the playoffs. You don't realize how fortunate it is when you get a chance to play in the playoffs. It doesn't happen every day. And every time I came back as a visiting player, I'd look up in those rafters, and I would see, I take a lot of pride in the fact that we won a division, but I always remember those Game 6s and that Game 5 that we lost. And it's what you dream of as a player. It's what you work so hard for. Yeah, you want to make money and you want to do things. You want popularity. You want all these things. But at the end of the day, we're all competitive. We want to win. And there's no better feeling than winning. You know, I've never won on this level, but being able to go in that clubhouse with your boys that you start this journey with 8-9 months ago, you know, you go through the marathon of spring training, you go through the marathon of a season. There's nothing like it. Like, I could tell sitting next to him, like, when you put that uniform on and you've played, you relate to these guys so much. It's so difficult to get to this point. Yes, we want them to win 4 more games, but these guys deserve to enjoy this moment because it is so hard to do what this team has done all year, to be able to overcome, to be counted out, to be down in the series, and to be able to just go in there and, you know, when your manager's giving that speech and it's just this build-up and you have these snapshots of your whole life about when you were a little kid and you dream of this moment, now these guys get a chance to live it.
Caleb, you said that word, snapshots. How important is it for players? You've been here, now you're on the other side. How important is it for them, and I don't know if it's even possible, to remember this moment and be in this moment?
Yeah, great question. You know, it happened so fast, and I remember being in the big leagues my first year, making it to the playoffs in the first year, and I thought, oh, this is great. We're going to do this every year. The very next year, we went 81-81. Then we came to Toronto and lost in the wild card series, and I never made it back after that until 2020 with Toronto in the COVID year. You just never know when it's your last time to go, and you just relish every moment. I think of Kevin Gosman, a former teammate of mine, that he didn't get past the ALCS, and so you're kind of living vicariously through him, and you just know how much these guys work at it, and everyone works hard. That's obvious, but at the end of the day, you got to get it done, and these guys got it done. And for me, the turning point was the 4-game sweep of the New York Yankees in the middle of the season. I had hope. I had a lot of optimism towards this team. The minute they swept the Yankees, the way they did it, the confidence they gained from that, you just knew there's something special. You love every team for its different reasons, but there's a gut feeling you have, and I'm sure you've had it too, Kevin. There's certain teams that just have that special, unique it factor. And this team, for whatever reason, everyone in this country at times, I guarantee you, has doubted this team. I've doubted this team, and they continue to prove us wrong. It's an amazing feeling to see them come through, do it their way, and just win for the entire country. These fans have been awesome.
One thing that I think underscores the point that both of you made, Don Mattingly is about to go to his first World Series in his career. Donnie baseball, Jamie, if you can believe it, just a special night on a number of levels.
You have to think, gentlemen, that relentless team that you speak of must be the Dodgers' worst nightmare, as the World Series will begin on Friday as the bracket is set for the final 2. And as you now know, both Dan and Buck will be on the microphone, and we can't wait to hear their voices. Let's send it up one more time to the broadcast booth. Gentlemen, take it away.
And we can't wait to call that World Series, Jamie. Thank you. Yes, we are here in the booth looking down at the field. We can see the celebration continuing. And again, not that it's hard to believe. I mean, it feels real, but just the accomplishments that this team has had this year, and Caleb and Kevin and Arden were talking about it from step to step to step, where people kept saying, well, they're not that good. They won't do this. They had a nice year, but, and they just kept overcoming.
Yeah, Dan, I don't think the Blue Jays ever got the credit they deserved in the course of the season. Nobody really recognized them as a championship caliber team, although they led the world in hitting. They had great comeback wins. They had timely pitching, great defense all year long. This team is capable of beating anybody, and I know the Dodgers are going to be huge favorites in this World Series, but this team, and you can see the magic, the emotion, and the concern they have for one another. I think that can carry them a long way, even in a World Series.
And for John Schneider, as he talked about, 24 years in the organization. It's the only pro organization he's ever been in. Drafted by the Blue Jays, played as a minor leaguer, coached, managed in the minors, coached in the majors, managed in the majors, and you could hear from him what it means to him to have the country behind him and what it means to him to have done it with the only organization he's ever known.
Yeah, it's a pretty special place to play, and for people that have never experienced playing in Toronto, you don't understand what a great supporting fan base you have. Coast to coast to coast, these fans that love their team, and now they're going to be able to show that joy in a World Series 2025 World Series matchup with the LA Dodgers. Pretty magical moment.
Just the third time in 49 years the Blue Jays are headed to the World Series, and it begins Friday night right here in this ballpark. Game 1 between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays.
Gentlemen, thank you. It is so good that there is a generation that's going to get to enjoy that as it begins on Friday. And they are here due to the performance of a lot of people. And one of those people has existed all season long in sort of an embattled mode based on inconsistency as the closer of this team. And he went out, Madison, in Game 6 and Game 7 and locked things down. How do you assess what we've seen from Jeff Hoffman the last 2 days?
Unbelievable. And when we looked at what he did yesterday, you and I were talking about it before the game. Exactly how many pitches did he throw yesterday? He threw 35 pitches yesterday. So the question for me was whether or not he was going to be able to come into the game and for how long. And to be able to come in when he did with the game on the line and to perform the way that he did do, to strike out the side, that to me shows you how he's able to rise in these types of situations. When I think back to the middle of the season, maybe at times when he's given up a home run or two, it comes down to the location and executing of those pitches. But look at the locations of these pitches. Those four-seam fastballs, whether it's today or strikeouts from yesterday, he is locating all around the outside edges, and this is exactly what you want from your closer, and you love that competitive fire that he brings out to the mound every single time. Everybody's feeding off of it. We're feeding off of it up here in the studio. Just unbelievable from Jeff Hoffman.
The closer's job is the toughest one in baseball because when they don't perform well, you generally lose the game, and you feel it, and that's just the toughest job. And Jeff Hoffman was integral to this team early in the season. Remember the start that he got off to, and then of course he has some struggles. But they stayed with them. We kept waiting and waiting and waiting. Will they make a move? Will they move Jeff to some lower leverage till he figures things out? Every pitcher goes through it. Starters, relievers, closers, setup, and it doesn't matter, middle relievers, but they stuck with them. And we're not always privy to conversations. Once the playoffs start, it's a little different than the regular season. During the regular season, we're downstairs every day. We're in the clubhouse. We can talk to players. They're very accessible. Things tighten up in the postseason, so we're not privy to a lot of the conversations. I thought what Dan Shulman mentioned there earlier, if you remember, he said he was down there. He spoke to Jeff Hoffman. He talked about 6 outs in Game 6, and Jeff said, and 3 more tomorrow. And it's exactly what he did. So you understand the communication that went on between the manager, the pitching coach, the pitching staff, and Jeff himself. He knew that he'd be called upon today. I thought after 6 outs last night, that might be asking more. And I remember before the game, and I said, hopefully they don't need Jeff Hoffman. And I meant because they'd be up 6 or 8 runs. That clearly wasn't the case. They needed him, and he answered the bell. Unreal.
Imagine the full circle moment. Hoffman drafted in 2014, traded to Colorado so that Troy Tulowitzki could come here, try and get the Blue Jays to the World Series. Comes back as a free agent, does Hoffman, and he's helped his team get there. Now, the MVP of the American League Championship Series, and quite frankly, you probably both agree, the voting should not have been close, because this is what Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did over the course of this 7-game series. You saw at the end, Madison and Joe, that he was in tears because the weight that this man carries is significant. You never know it by the time he spends tirelessly with people signing autographs, throwing baseballs into the stands. But what he did in these 7 games will be remembered for a long time.
His reaction afterwards, you could just tell how much this means to him. But when you look at those numbers, Joe, Jamie, those are video game numbers.
Yep.
Those numbers are absolutely insane. And he's doing this in the postseason. That OPS, what, well over 1,400? Just insane.
This organization and ownership invested in Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for a long, long time for a lot of money because they want him to be the face of this franchise. And before the contract's even starting, he's the face of the franchise and more.
You know who'll be celebrating this? A guy who spent a load of time in the minor leagues before getting this opportunity. Nathan Lucas is with the gang on the field.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jamie. Nathan, I mean, over the years, I remember you would come up and down. You were on that option carousel. I'd always check in with you. How's it going at AAA? You'd come up, you might not even get a plate appearance. This year, full-time big leaguer, a huge contributor on this team. Big hits in the postseason. How special is it for you?
I mean, it's the trust that I felt from everyone here. It means everything. It means everything. This is unbelievable. This is just everything I dreamed of, and all the fans here. It's just chanting my name. It's just honestly speechless. No words.
Hey, take me back maybe 2 years ago. You're 6-7 years in the minor league, and for a lot of people at home that don't know, the minor league lifestyle is not luxurious. You probably had to work in the off season. You have a wife, you want to start a family. It's not really a job that provides for your family. What at that point, what motivates you to keep going? And does nights like this make it all worth it?
It's the family. It's the kids. It's the kids at home. The wife at home. They're the biggest motivation. Just trying to give them a better life. And I'm happy they made me stick through it. And now they get to live this life too.
Was there moments during that where you thought it was maybe over? You considered
Absolutely.
it up?
I think it was in 2022 when I officially became a free agent. We had that talk. We had the talk of, is it time to be a dad? And then, fortunate enough, Ross called me and told me that I was on the 40-man, and pretty much just said, that's the golden ticket.
Hey, we're never gonna have to find out. But what were you gonna do if you didn't play baseball? What was the job? You're never gonna have to do it again after what you've done.
No plan B.
Well, I'm glad. Hey, it's good to have Plan A and stick with Plan A because you're going to the World Series.
I want to know if there was a person this year that you leaned on. You know, was it a teammate? Was it a coach where when things might have started to go sideways that you leaned on, you thought, this is my guy, and he pumped you up?
I mean, it was pretty much the whole outfield squad. We grind every single day with each other. But I mean, George, most importantly, George, he's our father figure. And he brings us down to earth, and he kind of tells us what to expect. George he's kind of our dad.
Uncle George. That's the same thing Nolan Varsho said after the DS. Remember, he came here and said, George is our dad.
Yep,
So you're a dad. I'm going to let you go find your kid. Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate you, man. Congrats. Hey, speaking of the team dad, guys, the conversations that we were having about George Springer in spring training coming off of the last few years. And then remember, Caleb, how he performed in spring training? Remember how the ABs looked?
I think it was 081. I think that's what he hit in spring training. And I'm not going to lie, there were some people that were wondering if the dreaded 3-letter word was coming by his name, DFA. Are we glad he didn't get DFA'd? Biggest swing possibly in the last 30 years. He sends the Blue Jays to the World Series. Let me tell you, his first couple ABs, he was not getting off his A swing whatsoever. I mean, he was at like C+, maybe. And that's just not normal considering that he's played in such high-pressure situations. I thought he was going to be the guy to really key in and lock in on, and they really pitched him well. They pitched him up and in, up and in, up and in. He had his front hip flying, but I'll tell you what, the minute he got to a 1-0 count, and the game was on the line, you knew he could sell out to a certain pitch. And I'm telling you, I've been behind the plate trying to call pitches against George. The one pitch that scared me more than anything is a sinker that's pulled from a right-handed pitcher that starts on the outer half and moves right down towards the middle end part. That's exactly what he got. He was ready to hit it. He came up huge yet again in October.
Yeah, it's hard for me to sit here and say this because my former teammates behind me, but that was the biggest home run that I'd ever seen. This is the loudest the stadium's ever been. When you think back to Jose's, yes, it was an unbelievable moment, changed my life. I talked about that. The game was tied. When George came up in that moment, sitting up in that press box, there was not a lot of hope in this stadium. There was not a lot to cheer about. And to Kayla's point, his swings at that point weren't great. There wasn't a lot of optimism. But knowing George and his pedigree, they went to the well one too many times. They buzzed him up and in and up and in and up and in, and they showed him that first pitch sinker. And like George has done so many times, he sold out to the sinker and didn't miss it and changed the scoreboard, changed the destiny of this team, and changed so many players' lives doing that.
Jamie, for a guy who was here for Jose in 15, Edwin in 16, to say that was the biggest home run that he has seen in his life, don't know that I can say much more about George Springer than that.
Sorry, Jose. Love you, buddy.
I know he's standing near you, Kevin, too, and I'm sure he understands. And I did love what our friend Brad Fay tweeted out when he called Springer's home run the going yardo on Bizardo, which was very accurate. We do know that the Blue Jays are going to the World Series. What are you two, beginning with you, Madison, looking forward to seeing?
From a baseball side of things, I'm just looking to see how many more ways we're going to see this team win ball games. That has kind of been the story for this team all year long, is how are they going to get it done? Is it going to be a sacrifice bunt? Is it going to be a shutout performance by the pitchers? Is it going to be a home run? Or, like tonight, do you see a combination of both of those things? But I'm wondering what other impactful moments are we going to see? Are they swings? Are they pitches? Are we going to see from this World Series?
I think the interesting part here is because the Dodgers are the Dodgers and they've got this huge payroll. Everybody thinks the Los Angeles Dodgers are going to roll over everyone just like they did the Milwaukee Brewers. This is a pretty good high payroll team also. Let's not forget what ownership has invested in this team and what they have done with their resources. They have brought in some very good players, coaching, all of the people behind the scenes that we kept hearing all about tonight, because when you hear players and coaches talk about that, it's very meaningful and it's helped them get to this day to get to a World Series. The Los Angeles Dodgers will have their hands full, mark my word.
Ken and Ivanka, remember all that fuss 2 years ago about Shohei Ohtani being on a plane to Toronto? Well, guess what? He's going to be. He has to get here to play the World Series because the Blue Jays win the pennant. The Blue Jays win the pennant. The Blue Jays win the pennant. Back to you two.
I just hope no one's tracking planes and stuff like a couple years ago.
He's been waiting a couple of years to say that.
He has
It
been.
is so easy to root for this team. And we just heard stories from Lucas. We saw Dalton and his dad, you know, the emotion from Vladdy earlier. It's just,
Well,
they're so likable.
that's what I love about sports, is the human side. That interview with Nathan Lucas, that was the best thing I've seen in a while. And you're happy for a guy like that who, as he was telling Kevin, I was thinking of, he had no plan B. I'm happy for Brendan Little, that this doesn't have to hang on him. I'm also happy for John Schneider, because if this game didn't go the Blue Jays' way, we'd still go back to Game 5 and we'd be talking about that. Now we don't have
See,
to.
I think we would have just moved forward. And this game would have...
You're an optimist.
This game, exactly, optimistic Cosmic. Okay, well, we all remember a great October moment, of course, was when Scherzer was on the mound for Game 4, telling his manager, he's got this, and nothing but
They've
love.
got each other now.
Nothing but love between the 41-year-old and Schneider. And let's hear from the manager.
Hi, John. Hey. So, what does it feel like going to the World Series for the first time in 32 years?
Pretty cool. Pretty humbled to be part of it, you know what I mean? I've said it before, besides my wife and kids, this is what I pour my life into. So to be leading the team that's going back to the World Series for the first time in 32 years kind of hits me a little bit, and I couldn't be happier for every single guy on the team and in the clubhouse, not just the players but the staff too. So we're gonna enjoy tonight big time, you know, and realize how hard it is to get here, and then get back to work and get ready for the Dodgers.
Fifth row straight back, John.
Hey, John, congratulations.
Thank you.
We've heard from you throughout the series about it's another game, do your job, all those good things. When you're a couple of outs away from elimination and then in the blink of an eye, you're leading in a couple outs away from the World Series. How hard is it to practice what you preach to just keep it steady?
Very. You know, I've said before, I try to be purposely deliberate in what I do and what I say every day. I'm sure I was not practicing what I preach by my facial expressions in that moment. But it's really, really an amazing thing to watch these guys navigate situations. Whether it's Barge walking, Izzy grinding out a single, or George being able to slow that moment down, which he's done a million times in his career. So in the moment, really, you're not thinking about it. Honestly, I wasn't thinking about it. I was thinking about, are they going to play the infield in? Are they not? Are we going on contact? Are we not? Who's he bringing in to face who? What are the counter moves? So you kind of get lost in the moment a little bit, but this team, man, it's a special group.
Second row, your left, John.
Hey, John, I got two questions for you. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
First question, when George Springer connected on that home run, what was running through your head?
I didn't really know. You know what I mean? Before the game, I said there's always someone that's going to have a moment, right? In a Game 7, winner-take-all game. They had a couple, you know, from their big-name guys between Julio, Cal, and Josh. So you never really know. So in the moment, I've seen Georgie hit some homers, you know, and I was just hoping that he got enough of it. And when he did, you know, you kind of look around and you see players and coaches reacting the way they did. Kind of surreal in the moment when you're witnessing a historic swing for the organization, you know what I mean? And then you try to get back. I remember going right to Pete and just making sure, yeah, Chris is still the guy no matter what for the 8th inning. So you kind of get back into manager mode.
On that note, Gosman and Bassett came out of the bullpen.
It's awesome.
What's it say about this team that you have two guys who are typically, historically starters stepping up like that?
You know, just gutsy, you know what I mean? I think that I try to learn from every experience that you've been through, and Game 7 is a whole different animal where things get a little bit quirky, you know? And I said it to you guys before the game, there comes a time where you just trust people and you just trust guys that have been there, right? So for Kev to come out of the bullpen for the first time all year, and, you know, I intentionally walked Cal, and I thought he did a good job of working around Naylor to go to Polanco, who he's handled well. It's just cool to see guys that you trust go out there and have success. Chris's curveball to Gino, man, 3-2. It's a ballsy pitch, and that's who Chris is. So to see his reaction was really fulfilling. And then Hoff punched out the side, man. It was awesome.
One row behind the last.
I'm wondering from this past Friday and to next Friday, obviously you mentioned it's been an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
How did you manage your emotions since Friday, and how do you plan to manage your emotions until Friday?
I think from that point, you rely on people you trust around you, right? If you're not learning, you're falling behind. And if you're not counting on people who support you, you're going to get lost, you know? So I think leaning on Pete, DeMarlo, Donnie, Ross, even having conversations with him, and then going home and hearing my wife talk about it too, and my boys, you know what I mean? Like, hey, don't be afraid to trust your gut, and don't be afraid to just be who you are, because you're here for a reason. It gives you a little bit of a exhale, you know what I mean? And then to come see these guys every day, it's hard. It's hard to manage your emotions. As far as managing them right now, I'm going to enjoy the hell out of tonight. And probably tomorrow too, to be honest with you, and then get back to being the skipper of the Blue Jays.
Fifth row, your left, John.
Not over here, congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, the old saying goes, it takes a village, and you look at this team, you got 15 guys in this team who were in AAA at some point this year.
Crazy, right?
Whether they were supposed to be there, or guys like Springer and Bieber who were hurt and working through something. What does it say about this game being, you know, as much an organizational triumph for all the things you had to go through the last 6 months?
It says that we're aligned from top to bottom, really, right? Like asking Casey Candell to do things with guys in AAA that I would ask them here, and him doing it. That's one thing. You can look at the guys that are celebrating in here, and they've all helped us win. And there's guys that aren't here that have helped us win, you know, so that part is really fulfilling. You know, there's some role players, there's some guys that got valuable experience last year in a down year that has paid off this year big time. So you never know where the game's going to take you. You know, you never know when you're going to acquire Shane Bieber. You never know when you're going to acquire Max Scherzer. You never know when George is going to hit 32 homers in the regular season. You never know when Vlad is going to earn $500 million. You know what I mean? So where we've ended up, man, is pretty cool.
And Lucas, for a guy who was almost out of the game, to be going to the World Series.
Thrilled for him. You know, thrilled for everyone, right? But I mean, Nate's a guy who was contemplating retirement. You know, 30-year-old dude. He's got 2 kids. You know, he's rode the bus for his whole life, and he's hitting second for the Toronto Blue Jays in front of Vlad and behind George. Couldn't be happier for him. Couldn't be happier for Ernie Clement. Couldn't be happier for Miles Straw, who was in AAA last year. Tyler Heineman, that's been on 14 teams in the last 3 years. And guys that were in our bullpen that weren't here last year or in AAA somewhere else last year. So I think it just shows that it takes an entire team effort to get to where you want to get to.
A few last ones up from your left hand.
John, congratulations.
Thank you.
I know you haven't had a lot of time to absorb this yet, but you look at the postseason history of the Dodgers, the reputation around the game. Does that match up? Is that something that you kind of relish, having a matchup against a team with that stature?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think to get to where you want to go, you got to beat the best, right? Whether it's talent, payroll, whatever you want to call it, man. They're a damn good team. You know, we saw them 3 games, you know, and that's it this year. But they got Hall of Famers up and down, well, top of their lineup. You know what I mean? And they got really, really good starting pitching and really good relievers. So I truly think that the best 2 teams are left standing. You know, for a variety of different reasons. And I'll never count my guys out of any series. You know what I mean? It's going to be fun. They're going to be up for it. There's going to be some big swings and ebbs and flows in it, I'm sure, but I'm just thrilled for the guys that they get the opportunity.
Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
How does it feel to have a whole country behind you?
Special, you know. We're the only team that gets to experience that, and we're the only team that has the following that we do, and the viewership that we do. You know, I think guys don't realize that sometimes, but from coast to coast to have, you know, this team to grasp onto is really cool. And it's easy for me to say that because I've been part of it for a long time, you know, and I felt the connection when I was managing in Vancouver, you know what I mean, as a minor league affiliate, as a Canadian big league team too. So it's special for everyone that's involved with our organization.
Do you expect that? Do you expect that it might grow into a bit of a Canada versus America spirit, not just Canada versus the Dodgers?
I don't know, maybe. We'll see, but I know it'll be the Blue Jays versus the Dodgers. That's kind of how we're going to look at it, knowing that we have a whole country behind us. But I'm not quite sure how that'll unfold, but I know that these guys in there know that they're representing the country too.
One last one for John.
Public service announcement. Let's not go with the whole Canada versus USA thing, please.
It's not about that.
Yeah. Remember when the Jays were down 2-0? Well, they are now one of just 4 teams to ever come back to win a best-of-7 series after losing the first 2 games at home. The other teams to do it, the Yankees, Mets, and the Royals.
Comeback kids. They continue to show off their resiliency, and only 6 Blue Jays on the ALCS roster were alive in 1993. Of course, the last time the Blue Jays were in the World Series 32 years ago and won it, their second of back-to-back titles. Kenny?
You know what I just realized?
What?
You're older than all those guys.
It's true. It's true. Hoffman, Heinemann, Gosman, born in the early 90s. Springer, Bassett, 1989. And 41-year-old Maxwell Martin Scherzer, who's going back to the World Series. Here he is.
Young Max.
It's the best thing, best feeling in the world. Everything I dreamed for. Ever since you've been a kid, you dreamed to go to the World Series. I'm still dreaming.
What do you have to say about another George Springer October moment?
Oh my God, not another one. Wow, what a homer. It's unbelievable what he did. Unbelievable. But it's everybody. I love George and what he did. I mean, he saved the series. He had to come back homer, but it's the way this team plays. They commit to anybody. We all believe in each other. We believe in George. George believes in us, and we believe in everybody.
How did John lay this out for you, and how did it get executed so well? Just the pitching plan.
I don't know. Ask him. I'm here to go pitch.
How great was that to have him on your side?
Yeah, I'd rather have him on my team than face him. So what a moment for him. And for us, I mean, we're going to the World Series.
What about playing with Vladdy? What has that been like?
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. He's even grown up even this year. He's become so much better. He's such a complete player. It's all around. It's not just his hitting. Obviously, he can hit. We know it. But it's his defense. It's his base running. It's his instincts. That's what's making him unbelievable now.
And we've seen that from the 26-year-old Vladdy. You know what's going to stand out? I think we all said last night when they was it last night when they won and he took it all in.
Yes.
When they won Game
When he
6 to
did
force a Game
the
7,
Rock
and he
WWE
let
interview?
he
Yeah.
let it soak in and sit, and they said born ready.
Born ready. Wow.
Oh man.
I love how raw these interviews are that are coming in. You see, like Johnny, one of the camera guys, and I were laughing because a buddy of mine texted me. He said it looks like J-Rock's club on Trailer Park Boys when we're all just partying there.
Tarps were off immediately.
Tarps
George
were
Springer
off.
leading the way.
Yep.
It's been fantastic to see all this. Of course, we have plenty more coming up, and this is encouraging news from Shai Davidi.
Yeah, Bo Bichette. Everybody, I'd love to see Bo Bichette in the lineup. World Series starts on Friday, and Shai asked Bo if he's going to be ready for the World Series. Well, this was after the Mariners and Bo post-game read the World Series. I'll be ready. So there you go. That's a good sign for a Blue Jays fan.
Couple days to go before the World
Really
Series
good
starts on Friday. Of course, at home, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the pregame show when the Blue Jays welcome the L.A. Dodgers to town.
Didn't you have Kevin Gausman out of the bullpen tonight? That was cool. He's such an intense dude, but like so cool off the mound, and he was digging it.
And so when they said last night, all hands on deck, everyone will be ready to go, they literally meant everybody will be ready to go. You know, Hoffman came over like he pitched 35 pitches last night, 2 innings.
He
but
went 3 up, 3 down.
He was fantastic. Everyone was fantastic up and down the lineup.
All right, here's Kevin Gausman after this one.